Okay, guys, it's midnight here. We're super tired, but we want to knock this out for you guys. Why do I keep on saying knockout? All right, because I actually feel like knocking something or someone out after watching this movie.
Is that Kabir Khan?
Oh, I do. Well, I would like to say this before we start. You got Phantom and you got Mumbai Avengers, and I think I would like to. I don't know how you feel, but I would like to actually check out Mumbai Avengers and see what it's all about a bit more, because I think there was elements of this film that were seriously missing, and they're hidden in the book. But Ravi, why don't you give us your amazing overview?
I will try and make this film sound better than it is. So, Phantom is based on Mumbai Avengers. Mumbai Avengers is a book, and the book and the film tell this story. The story of Daniel Khan. He is a dishonorably discharged ex-Indian Army officer. He's upset about everything, so he lives in the mountains by himself, surrounded by snow, raising hens. One day, the chiefs at RAW, India's intelligence agency, decide they want to gain revenge for what the terrorists, the Pakistani terrorists, did back in 2008 at the Taj in Colaba, right? So they decide, in this brilliant master plan, that they need to find somebody to do this, and they decide to go and find Saif Ali Khan, because nobody knows who he is, where he is, or what he's done. And so they go up into the mountain, and after about 6 weeks of trying to get him to come out, you know, they offer him Lego, they offer him like some paratha, they offer him some money, but the main thing is they tell him that his dad will start to talk to him again. So Saif Ali Khan decides, I'm going to do this mission, this impossible mission by myself, and go and kill all of the people responsible, all of them, for the attacks in Mumbai. And that is the basis for our story.
As you can see by our expressions and the way that we're talking, we didn't enjoy the story. We kind of felt that it was all over the place.
So you said this in the car on the way back. Saif Ali Khan can act, but in this, he doesn't. He chooses not to. He chooses instead to be something like Rambo combined with a tree, combined with a block of concrete, because that's about as much finesse as he brings to this role.
Yeah, he just, every single scene that he was in where you would expect him to be, he felt very wooden through this. You know, there's some serious moments, there's some serious interactions, whether it's to do with terrorists or whether it's to do with civilians or even Katrina, but he just feels like he's at that same tempo.
What about in like the moment where he calls his dad and his dad doesn't answer him and he tries to be emotional?
Right.
I was just like, well,
Is that Papa?
Yeah. That was really good, man.
Oh, was it good? I might try out for Kabir Khan's next film.
Phantom 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, so he was wooden, he was boring, but we know that he can act, all right? Now, what about Katrina? Now, you're a massive fan of Katrina. You're such a big fan that you try to revive yourself with just the way she looks and dances, and the way you feel good about her by watching the film. What film was that you were watching?
I was watching a little compilation of all her dances and her little scenes and stuff whilst we're doing this, just to try and regain some kind of affection for Katrina, because we went to Mumbai, and we talk about it in the AMA, right? We went to Mumbai, and pretty much the whole time I was there, I was trying to convince him that she's hot, right? And he was telling me, she's all right, man, like, your eyes are getting messed up. And it turns out he was right, because in the first half of this film, not only does she act terribly, she looks terrible too. And that's me saying it, and you guys know, I love Katrina. Right, so, the problem with her is where Saif is wooden,
Yes.
she is like plasticine.
Yeah, sure.
And
I can see
she's
that.
just gooey and hammy and all like mushy, and She's just trying so hard in every scene to conjure up every bit of acting she could bring up.
But the other thing is that was bad enough as it is, right? But her motivation to tag up with Saif was just stupid. It didn't make any sense. She's working for obviously this corporate. Was it called Blackwater, Darkwater,
Darkwater.
Right. Oh, right. Okay. Well. Anyway, she's working for this organization, and she's got her own mission for like 10 grand or something like that.
Yeah.
And then for some reason she decides, which to us didn't make any sense. We were laughing in the cinema. That why did she decide to tag up with Saif?
Yeah. So for the first half of the film, all she cares about is she's going to get £10,000. That's it. She's just, I want £10,000. That's why I'm doing this, Saif.
Yeah. That's really weird. That how she would want to do this for £10,000.
Right. And then somewhere in the middle, and there is no build up to this, guys, she starts to tell everyone around her that it's really important that they get revenge for what happened in India. For no reason. That's not her motivation. And then she tells this story about her dad and how he used to take her to the Taj for tea and chocolate pastries. She doesn't bring this up through the whole film and brings it up at the end. For no reason. No real reason apart from we were supposed to feel something at that point.
It was so bad that if somebody offered you chai and chocolate biscuits, all right, you would jump at the chance. But as she was talking about it, you wanted to run away from that gift that she was trying to offer.
Yeah.
She gave me chocolate biscuits and tea at that point. I said, nah, you know what? I'm kind of keeping my distance.
The only redeeming thing about that part of the film is she looked really good in the second half when she's in Pakistan wearing traditional clothes. So what I was going to say, so one of the points you brought up was essentially this is the term a game of two halves. This was a film of two halves, both bad, but it was two separate films, and that was one of your takeaways.
Guys, the second half of this film is just friggin' insane. So we walked out obviously halfway. No, we didn't leave the film. It was the intermission, and I wanted an ice cream so badly, right? So I got myself an ice cream. We came back. Yeah, we sat down. It started, and we're sitting there scratching our heads because this feels like a very different sort of film with these new characters that have been thrown in, and they're not flushed out. They don't seem to fit in the right place. Their stories when they're supposed to move on, they didn't move on in the right way. I mean, how do you feel about that?
There was no conclusion to any of them either, and that was systemic of the film because the set pieces, all of the action sequences, and I promise you, every single one, from whether it was a fight scene to a shootout to a chase to some incredible feat of acrobatics, including back freezing shower heads, nothing felt tense, nothing felt like it had a purpose. You didn't really want anything to be an outcome of any one of the sequences. You didn't care if the terrorist won or if Saif won. You just didn't care. There was a point, do you remember, when a character that we actually quite sympathised with, he, spoiler, dies, right? The old man in the car when he gets shot.
Sure, yeah.
I felt nothing.
No, I didn't feel anything. I felt like a cold-hearted bastard.
Yes.
This guy is dead. He has been shot. But we're just looking at the screen thinking, when is this film going to end?
Yeah, there was this, oh my God. Do you remember that moment where, so get this, the biggest terrorist of all of them has just been killed. His right-hand man has just been killed. The ISI are trying to lock down all of the city, and they stop all of the borders. They put police blockades at every road. And our heroes, Saif and Katrina and their driver, are trying to get out of the city, and they get to the blockade.
Yeah.
Right? And the officer stops everyone, but the way that they mastermind their way out of this is for Katrina to fake going into labour after a terrorist has just died, and the police are like, oh my God, let them go, let them go. Do we do that? Ridiculous.
It was stupid. It was absolutely fucking pathetic. It really was. And you guys may think that we're just cussing it and we're just having a rant.
Brothers is a better movie.
It is. I just want to finally touch on Kabir Khan's directorial piece in this. I don't understand where we've gone from Bajrangi Bhaijaan, which was fucking the film of the year for us.
So far, yeah.
To this. I don't get it. And the thing, this is the thing, right? Bajrangi Bhaijaan hit all the points. It made you feel so mushy and so gooey and so vulnerable. Okay? This, and he's so good at doing it, but in this, you didn't feel anything. You just felt like, okay, you know what? I've had enough. I want an ice cream.
There was one moment where they should have used it really early in the film, where just outside the Taj, and there's an old man and he's serving chai.
Oh yeah.
And he serves it for free, but it's not about that, it's about the story that he's telling, about how his son died, he was a waiter at the Taj, and now that the revenge has happened, he feels at peace. Well, if we had something at the beginning that showed some of the people that were affected, then maybe at the very least we could have been rooting for our protagonist. And that, like, at the core, I don't know how you feel about this, but this film has been banned in Pakistan. MSF, who provide medical aid, right, and they're a charitable organisation, have protested the film, right, to say that it's putting their people in danger, because what's happening is people in Pakistan, some of the terrorists or some of the slightly violent groups are targeting, or the fear is that they will target medical staff, because a core part of this film is using some of the charitable medical staff to get the terrorists back. So there's a real fear, and this film is causing problems. When we talked about this in the trailer reaction, we talked about the danger of this film, and it's coming to bear. It's causing real problems. A
lot of guys cussed us off, which is cool. Hey, you got every right to diss us if you want. That's fine. But you know what? I'm having a difficult time trying to find, the message that maybe Kabir Khan is trying to put across in this. I mean, I know that he's been saying a lot of positive things, and he would do. Obviously, he's directed it, and he wants the film to make money, and everyone's going to come out and promote it and do whatever they can to save it, right? But it's insane that if it's causing so many problems, and that's something that we highlighted. Yeah, come on, man. Somewhere along the line, some producer, some scriptwriter should have cleaned it up a bit more, because it seemed like a really messy film.
Yeah, it did, and it wasn't clear, and that's the danger of it. And considering he did Bajrangi Bhaijaan, it's crazy that he just couldn't see the contrast. So look,
right. So should we?
I mean, there is no soundtrack to speak of, so there's nothing to cover. There's no, the Afghan Jalebi song's in it.
Well, I would like to say this, that the second half actually turned into a musical. I don't know if you realise that.
Do you think?
Yeah, in the second half, there was just so many musical numbers that were just playing in the background.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're just like one after the other, and they were like in the bursts of like every 15 minutes or every 10 minutes.
Oh, you're right, actually, because they were using it to make us believe that Saif and Katrina were falling in love. And they actually, it's really, I don't know if it was a good scene or a bad scene or a good sequence. What did you think of the mother?
Oh God. I don't know. There's another story in itself. Again, this is the problem. These characters are thrown in. They're not doing anything for you. They're not attaching you to the film, and they kind of. It's almost as if somebody is pushing them out the film straight away without them being cleared up in the right way. You guys know what I'm trying to say. But do you want to conclude it? What would you round it up to?
Look, sometimes we are a bit harsh, and sometimes we get carried away with emotions and quite positive, right? I've seen Bajrangi Bhaijaan 5 times. You've seen it a few times, right? I know it's a different type of film. We both do. But sometimes when you're doing a film like this, you need to think about all of the factors that go into your audience, and your audience needs to be behind your hero, because in this he's causing carnage, right, everywhere. So you have to be able to forgive. None of that happens. This film has no motivation, it has no soul, it has no heart, it has no intellect. There's no particularly incredibly well done set pieces or anything of any kind of subtlety in the film whatsoever. And there are no performances to speak of. And quite frankly, there's no Katrina scenes to speak of either of any redeeming quality. So for me, you know this, I was huffing and puffing, and I was just angry and upset through the whole film, not because of the message necessarily, but just because it was bad. Brothers is a better film, and you've seen that review. This is bad. Phantom, just no.
Right, okay, and my roundup is, if one day you're walking and by chance you see a ticket on the floor and you pick it up and it's the ticket for Phantom, do not hesitate. Do not hesitate for a second to give it to your good friend so he can enjoy it rather than you.
Yeah.
Alright guys, we're sorry. This is another episode of BollyFools. Peace out.